between clean sheets.
Last year, I applied to an international sports business program on a whim called Living Sport. And for 10 days in Hamburg, Germany, we toured a few sports stadiums, we worked a major athletic event, and I sat among a dozen or so college-age children as they fine-tuned their resumes and talked about their plans to get a job in the sports industry upon graduation. Now, I am not college age, by the way. I was actually going through a professional/existential crisis, and I wanted to take myself outside of my current environment and get a little bit more perspective. I have a video I'll post on that you should definitely watch if you are interested in either participating in Living Sport or getting a better understanding of what your options are post-graduation. I had the month of July free. I had left my consulting position and I had participated in Living Sport, and I had a few days to myself before I started my new job. So I decided to go to Berlin. Unfortunately, the rigorous schedule of the Living Sport program left me a bit under the weather. I spent most of that time relaxing and wandering around the city, but I did get a chance to tour the Olympiastadion in Berlin, and it cost me 12 euros. It was an amazing experience. It was a nice, beautiful day outside. And the video that I present to you now is of that experience. So join me.
I certainly don't want my sickness to take over my day, let alone this trip, but it is a big theme of my time in Germany. I'm currently trying to rally, slept in until about 9 o'clock this morning, and I'm headed to the Olympic Stadium. I think it was the only stadium I managed to be able to tour this trip. I have an ear infection, I have a cold, I'm tired, but I'm trying my absolute best to make the most of my time on vacation.
The park itself was built to host the Olympics back in 1916, but were canceled because of World War I. When the opportunity to host came up again in 1936, the stadium was simply renovated. It sits among a complex of other training grounds and athletic fields. 1936 was the height of Hitler's power, and some refer to the games as the Nazi Olympics. Looking around, it's pretty easy to get the National Socialist vibe. The goal was to portray an intimidating display of youth and political power, and when the Olympics were over, the stadium served many non-athletic purposes as well. Ceremonies to honor Benito Mussolini's visit to the city, an ammunition depot, military bunkers, stockpiles of food, and Hitler's May Day address shown here, just months before World War II was declared. There's a premium tour option available on weekends, and unfortunately today is Thursday, and they weren't willing to make any exceptions for a girl with a budding YouTube channel of almost 300 subscribers. So I did the standard tour. It lasted about an hour. I thought it was a very unique opportunity for me, especially combining my love of soccer with my appreciation for history and World War II specifically. So
He was a German architect, and he was a very modern architect, and he used steel concrete, Matilda didn't like it. He said it doesn't look German.
Well, today we say Olympia Park. This is as big as 200 football fields, and that's the original bell. Yeah, let's go inside. Come on, let's see the VIP area.
Okay, I wanted to take a moment to read you some of the most important details, maybe deets between the sheets is something stupid I came up with, that are available on the stadium's website where I got my ticket to tour the stadium. So it says, not only the attendees of our events have discovered the stadium, numbers of stairways, the 2-level underground parking, modern prison cells, endless corridors, exclusive and high-end VIP sections make it much more than what a stadium normally offers. I'm dying laughing. This section is called movie and photo locations. People, I'm sure, film stuff at stadiums all the time. And this stadium has an aesthetic or a very specific look to it, so I completely get it. But the last paragraph says, a place for emotions, a place for perspective, and a place for movies and photos. If you want to get your engagement photos there, or maybe do some filming in one of their mini prison cells. And the Hall of Honors, which you just saw, is the club level. The website also refers to that as a very special place, saying the light-toned, historic, natural stone ambiance corresponds ideally with the modern, noble infrastructure and setting. And I realized I came during the off-season. In fact, while we were there, they were in the process of putting new stadium seats in, and half the grass had been installed. But I mean, this was a pretty bare bones club level. Hey, hats off to the person who's writing so eloquently that they're selling this place. It's just, it feels so, it's very majestic in a Nazi Germany kind of way. I really enjoyed it, guys. There's so much more. So okay, let's get back to it.
These two companies have German roots. And this is Jesse Owens, and we're very proud that we have Jesse Owens here in the stadium.
This is an ecumenical chapel, meaning a place of worship for multiple Christian faiths. It was built in 2006 ahead of the World Cup. Athletes get their babies baptized here, people get married here. It is a rentable private space that seats about 70 and has walls covered in pure gold. I also feel like this is where Zinedine Zidane went to go repent after he headbutted Marco Materazzi. That's the story I'm going with.
German text, and the same text in German is translated in 18 different languages.
This video took me a while to put together, but the timing is actually perfect given the latest drama that's going on with the one Bundesliga team that still plays in the Olympiastadion in Berlin, and that is Hertha Berlin Soccer Club, coached by none other than Jurgen Klinsmann, until a couple days ago, actually. I'll give you the skinny. So in 2016, Jurgen Klinsmann was fired from his job as head coach of the US men's national team. In fact, I remember it well. After the election was over, I traveled to Columbus to see what I thought was going to be a quintessential USA-Mexico mashup everyone calls 2-0, and we ended up losing 2-1 in what was one of the most frustrating US soccer games I've ever seen live. I believe that Jurgen Klinsmann set the foundation for our failure to qualify in the 2018 World Cup. So he hung out at his home in Huntington Beach, and in late 2019, he was called to be the head coach of Hertha Berlin. His job lasted for 76 days. He left last week without any notice and told the world via Facebook post. This story is just the latest in a long list of coaching failures for Jurgen Klinsmann. I think he has yet to figure out that his hit the ground running mentality is always short-sighted, impatient, and irrespective of the environment he's in. Google his time at any team he's been a part of. Bayern Munich, Toronto FC, the men's national team, and the stories all sound pretty similar. But for Hertha, The Athletic actually has a really good article that gives you the juicy details on some of the behind-the-scenes drama that caused Klinsmann to quit. I have have linked that article below. In Jurgen's opinion, I think he felt that the team truly personified their nickname, Old Lady, but in a way that inhibited their growth. They were unwilling to spend the necessary money, and they were unwilling to do anything that would catapult the team into relevance. I do think Jurgen went about it in the wrong way, but his sentiments actually weren't that far off. In fact, the New York Times recently said it best. In no other city are the local clubs so underrepresented as they are in Berlin. Both Hertha Berlin and Union Berlin, which is weird because they say Berlin is in a dominant position in German society in almost every other domain. I personally agree with that, given my experience in Berlin, and I also feel like the Olympic Stadium is holding Hertha back. There are talks about there being a new private stadium for the club, maybe by 2025. I personally believe that the Olympic Stadium is a beautiful relic and should be treated almost exclusively as a museum and occasional concert venue. Oh, and by the way, Hertha hardly ever reaches max capacity for their games. My question for you is, what do you think? Given the tour I just took you on and all the things that I've said about the Olympic Stadium, or if you've been fortunate like me to see it for yourself in person, what purpose does it serve? Should we save it for Champions League and the World Cup? Should we keep it for regular season Bundesliga matches? Should it just be a museum and occasional concert venue? Do you want to see Post Malone perform there? I wonder if Lady Gaga's ever performed there. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Please be sure to give this video a like if you enjoyed it and subscribe for more content. I'll be posting some additional video about my time in Germany as well as some other stadium tours I took in the United States. Peace, love, and soccer, friends. I'll see you next time.